Today we're going to take a look at a smaller project that falls within a larger project in this landscape bed, and we'll see if we can salvage this Icee Blue Juniper. So here's the options on our Icee Blue Juniper. Unfortunately, a lot of the stems that still have that live growth, they originate way back in the area where we originally planted this juniper. Now once we prune out the dead, we're going to have a long stem with really no foliage left on it. The foliage had been choked out or shaded from foliage that was alive further back. So I think what I'm going to try to do, once I get the dead out of there, I'm actually going to probably cover up that exposed, ugly stem area with no foliage. I'm going to cover it up with small rock. And that's not typically done, but I don't think it'll cause any problem for the plant long term. What I also might do, and we'll see how it looks when I get the dead out of there, I might take one of these live stems and lift it up and put some rock underneath it, and we'll see if we can create some kind of a effect where the branch goes up and arches and almost create like an art form out of these branches. Not sure if it's going to work, but we're sure going to give it a try. Oh, this all got started. This bed got away from me, especially the golden 9-barks in the center. So last fall, I decided to rejuvenate most of the shrubs you see in here, cutting them back hard. I'm still working on that video where I'll show you the entire process, that pruning. But as I was working on cutting back those shrubs, I discovered some girdling damage from mice on this Icee Blue Juniper. Came across a pretty good area where the mice had nested down there. So I went ahead and cut all those stems. Look at that, this whole group, and now watch, we pull that out. I knew those branches would soon be dead, so I pruned out the few that I had found and figured I had the problem solved. But as spring came around, a whole nother round of damage showed up from that girdling. I debated, I hesitated, I waited. I wondered if I should just rip it out and replant. And that's normally what I do on something like this. But I had done an earlier project where I had pruned out some dead growth on a weeping larch. And just for fun, I added this boulder below one of the branches, creating, I don't know, a bit of a table, a little shelf. And I actually really like how it turned out. So I got to thinking, why not do something similar on this Icee Blue Juniper? Get that dead trimmed out of there. See if we can get creative by adding a large rock under one of those main stems. Now this type of pruning, it can take a while as those branches are intertwined, nested together. There's only one way to find out how many stems might still be viable, and that's just to start pruning. Get rid of all the dead, see what's left, and we'll find out if it's a complete goner soon enough. Yeah, look at that. They're completely girdled. This could turn out to be one of the greatest things I've ever done, or one of the worst. But either way, we're going to find out. I have to admit I'm a little more optimistic as I move along on this. Looks like we're going to be left with, I think, a healthy amount of branches here. I think while we're seeing quite a bit of nice green foliage in this area, a lot of these stems that came from the main plant came up over this boulder area, and then they self-layered in, they rooted in to that mulch. And so now they've got a root system supporting them. So even if it's girdled further back, yeah, we'll be able to, I think, leave most of this. The Icee Blue, it does well in zones 3 to 9, only gets about 4 inches tall. As for the spread, due to its layering capabilities we just looked at, those stems rooting in as they grow, it's not uncommon to see the carpet junipers get, I don't know, even upwards of 20 feet. Real quick, here's a couple other areas I've got Icee Blue planted doing wonderful, but it has started to dominate in this bed here. You can see just how large it is, overtaking everything. That's becoming a problem in itself, and I've got some work to do there. But then just back here, same bed, it's doing exactly what I had hoped for in this area, with some nice slopes, contours. It's weaving its way through those different openings, and so far it's just been a little bit easier to contain. We're going to let this little vein come through here, and I'm actually going to take this one off. Sometimes you don't know until you get in there and start doing it, so that's what's going to happen. That foliage is going to come here, and then it's going to split down over there. This is going to create the divide. Once we get all that dead out, add some fresh mulch, cover up those dead looking stems at the original planting point, I think this is going to look like $1,000,000. A power blower makes quick work of removing the majority of the dead needles that have fallen over the years and from those dead branches. Okay, we've got our rock area cleaned up with that blower, works fantastic, and I like to use rock in combination with the different mulch. Just try to make sure you keep your rock beds on a higher side. And then I usually border rock and mulch beds with another higher field stone. And you want to avoid that contamination or the mulch moving. But let's go back to putting that boulder underneath here. I've decided not to do it on that vein over there, since we do want to let that rooting happen in there, just in case there's a girdling point further back. But this one, we're free and clear. This branch goes back to the main trunk, and no girdlings. I think this is going to be okay. So we'll have a little fun with this, where we're going to bring this up and let it kind of create that natural curve. It'll create reaction wood under that rock. Eventually we could move that rock out of there if we wanted and just have this tunnel. So a lot of things to have fun with and experiment with. Now I just got to go and find a rock. I hate moving my rocks. You know, they've kind of got their home. You think with this many rocks I could find something that would work. Oh my goodness. Okay, here we go. Right under there. And I don't want to overblow it with too big of a rock, so I want to make it look like it fits. I think this is going to be a good height to lift that up. Well, yeah, I got to find a bigger rock. Dang it. Maybe if we did a couple rocks. There we go. Yeah, as I mentioned, we could take that rock out of there down the road, and as long as we had enough strength or support here, this would actually arch up, and then we could keep some of this lower foliage down here that wants to drape down. We could keep that pruned up. We'd have that tunnel effect. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Again, just fun to experiment. Just a quick look from that angle. And for the finishing touches, we'll get some fresh mulch in these areas. What a difference it makes in the look of a bed, brand new. Sure wish it held that golden color longer. Be careful too that you keep your mulch in that 2 to 3 inch depth range, as greater depths, yeah, they can have negative consequences where you get an impenetrable layer that develops, and it actually sheds water and doesn't allow it to reach the soil and the roots. Yeah, this area settled just a little bit. We're going to put just a little bit of fresh river rock in there just to bring it up. It doesn't take much. That's good because I don't have much on hand. And the next step then, we'll go ahead and we'll just finish up hiding those old stumps that don't have any growth on them. I think I'm just going to rob rocks from some areas back here. Yeah, we don't have to completely cover the whole thing. I'll walk by this over the next several days, make sure I like how it looks, and I don't mind leaving some of these exposed right in there. I think that looks kind of cool. I just didn't like that core stump area, so I think we've accomplished our goal. From most viewpoints now, you can't really see the remnants, maybe just one more little rock right in there, and I think we're all set. As long as we've got some on hand, I'm just going to sprinkle just a little bit of this smaller river rock in there. Yeah, looking at this now, I'm really glad I made the effort here to salvage this Icee Blue Juniper rather than tearing it out and starting over. Really happy with how this turned out. That's all I've got for now. Keep an eye out for that video where we'll show you the rest of the pruning in this bed. Thanks for stopping by Garden Hike. We'll see you again soon, next video.